how can you teach musicality in 1 hour workshop? That's not possible.
I was training musicality, really focused on moving to melody. So it's like learning to listen and start noticing when it's going to be repetitive. And you can become really good at this.
Initially, I want to really make sure that I and my students understand the structure of music.
Sometimes the person that doesn't know music at all has an easier time than those who understand it really well. Rhythm is not the sound, but rhythm is the space between sounds. You are chasing the song. You have to make the song chase you.
There are very, very, very important songs that have these moments that if anybody continues their viradinha, I just walk away and I go like, no, I did not see that. What is musicality? How do you learn it? How do you train it? And how do you know that you have fully embodied with the music? Well, let's find out. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to ZoukNerds. In this episode, we are going to be breaking down the step-by-step process on how to learn and train musicality so you can dance and feel fully embodied with your partner. If you have taken lots of classes, workshops, intensives, private lessons on this topic, and is still unsure about it, this episode will be perfect for you. So, let's go! Hello everyone, and welcome back to another ZoukNerds. My name is Alisson Sanji, and once again, let's welcome back our beautiful co-host Gui Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Let's get going because in this episode, we're gonna attempt, we're gonna do our best to describe musicality.
Oh boy.
And oh dear. Even when I see musicality in the schedule of an event, of a workshop or a weekender, it already gives me the chills and gives me the things because I'm like, how can you teach musicality in 1 hour workshop? That's not possible. But we'll do our best to explain how we see musicality, how we train musicality for ourselves, and also for the people who learn from us. Sounds good? Please don't think that this is going to be like the masterclass of musicality, because if anybody tries to sell that, I wouldn't pay for it. Because to me, musicality is a lifelong learning thing. Something that forever and ever I learn. Every time I watch something, I learn. Every lesson that I take, I learn. Every time a teacher tells me, hey, listen to this in the music, and I'm like, oh my God, it's been 20 years and I did not think about that? How the hell? So that's right. And let's start with a very simple question, because here we have Gui, one of the masters in musicality and breaking down how to do this kind of things. In case you guys have not been following Gui in his beautiful Instagram, he has done lots of very cool videos showing how to dance to the lyrics, how to dance to the instrumental, how to dance to different parts of the music. So Gui, how do you train musicality and what do you focus on when you are embodying musicality for yourself or trying to explain it to another person?
Yeah, to respond to this question, I think we will need a whole episode. So I try.
Maybe part 1, part 2.
Yes, I will try to keep it short. Starting from the beginning, I think my training musicality was a big influence to the way that I see and I feel the music these days. And I think I've talked about this in previous episodes. I was training musicality, really focused on moving to melody. Like for the longest time, the musicality training was the voice, you step to the lyrics, body movements to the lyrics, then don't listen to the lyrics, find an instrument. A lot of my musicality training was trying to do something really specific in a specific part of the music. So the teacher would select like a chunk of the song, a very quick one, like the leading up to the chorus or the beginning of the chorus or the moment right before the pause that we will need to do something to that specific part of the music. So a lot of my training was listen to the melody, listen to the elements in the melody and move to them. And then another part of my training musicality was a lot about the vibe. So you would hear the song and we would ask you to imagine where are you in that song or what comes up when listening to that song, and then letting the movements be inspired by what you're noticing when you listen to the song. And there was another one that was super fun because we would hear a lot of songs in English, in Spanish, in French, and we wouldn't speak. I wasn't able to speak any of those languages. And we needed to na-na-na to the music. So we wouldn't even be able to actually sing the lyrics. There was one time that I was with my brother in class and he started singing. I remember this song. It was Fields of Gold from Sting. And we were in a bolero class and with Fields of Gold, and the song started and we were doing the na-na-na exercise and my brother started singing, "You remember me when the la la la," and the teacher stopped him and did na-na-na-na-na. He wanted to do the na-na-na because he wanted us to feel the cadence, the flow of the singing, not necessarily the lyrics, so the meaning, the words, the meaning of the words is not the point. So guys, I had all these trainings and that to this day informs how I perceive musicality by default. Like when a music starts playing, I go immediately to the melody aspect of it and try to let the melody move me and move to the melody. And what does it mean? Select one element of the melody and step to it, body movement to it, move to it. And there is one interesting part about this is when I don't know the song. So when I don't know the song, I don't know the melody. Yeah, so it comes through this other part of my learning process, which was to identify the patterns in the music when they start to repeat itself. So it's like learning to listen and start noticing when it's going to start to be repetitive. And guys, you can become really good at this in the sense that you listen to, I don't know, the first third of the song and you know the other 2/3. Or it's not that you know, but you have an intuition about the other 2/3. And then you find yourself being able to move to the melody. Yeah. And then the last thing, and then I'm going to stop here, Alice, I'll let you speak, was musicality related to the rhythm, to what we call in Portuguese batida or pulso, which is the beat or the pulse. But I think we would refer in a way maybe different, which is the cadence that the beat gives and the rhythm gives. So a lot of Brazilian dances, we would count the steps as tempo, contra tempo, contra tempo. I don't know how that is in English. I think it's similar in English, right?
Yeah, I've heard the literal translation like tempo contra tempo, but I don't know if it's kind of like a Port English translation.
Yeah, it might be. But we would train like, all right, so you have the basic step is tempo, contra tempo, contra tempo. And then we would train for a long time. Tempo, 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 contra, 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 tempo, contra, tempo. And start mix and match all of these things. And it was training to expand the rhythm, expand the use of the beat and the rhythm beyond the basic step use of the rhythm. I don't know if that makes sense. But in Brazilian Zouk, for example, we have the classic tum-chic-chic, or as we say here, tum-ta-chic. And that's like the classic way that you use, that's the rhythm of the dance. And then it was basically getting out of the tum-ta-chic and just doing tum, tum, tum-ta, chic, 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 chic. And that was also a great part of the training. So we would align that to melody. So using that dexterity that you develop with your feet and with your body to move at different dynamics, using the beat and the rhythm as a reference point. And then from there, moving to melody. And then from there, feeling the vibe. So it was like this progression. And to this day, that's how I approach musicality. Yeah, so there is this bass anchoring in the rhythm, in the beat, even if it's silent, even if it's like what some people call the phantom beat. Every song has a beat, but some are silent. So you find that, and then that's sort of your anchor, your baseline, and from there you keep moving up. So that's how I see musicality. Addison, 10 minutes answer. So maybe you should talk now. Like, how do you see it? How do you build it?
Once again, if you were here in our last episode, you know where I'm going to go about this. I'm going to take a step back and go before what Gui said. Because I think what Gui mentioned is something that is about listening and understanding and seeing the patterns, which is all the things that I teach and I do at the same time. But I'm a stickler for structure and systems because that's how my brain works. So initially, I want to really make sure that I and my students understand the structure of music. Very, very simply starting from that. Understanding the beat, understanding the counts, understanding the parts of the music, the intro, the verse, the bridges, the outro, and all of those things. So when you have that first structure, that you can listen to a song and realize, yes, okay, this is the part that it grows. Okay, this is the part that we have the most energy, the most voice, the most instrument. Okay, this is the part where it feels like something is changing. So maybe it's a bridge to go to a lower part or a less energy part of the music. So when I teach and when I learn, this is the first thing that I try to do. The numbers, the structures, the squares, all of those things like that. And then I move into pattern recognition, melody, and separating different layers of the music. Because when learning musicality, I think whatever you had growing up really affects and influences your experience in musicality. For example, I grew up in a household with a lot of classical music and a lot of instrumental music. But I had a lot more instrumental music than classical music. So I'm very, very connected to the instruments in the music. I'm talking about percussion. I'm talking about things that are a little bit more on the lower part of the music instead of the higher part of the music. Other people, either from Brazil or from other areas in the world, they are more connected to the vocals, to the harmony of the music. And that's something that I've experienced a lot in Europe, for example. A lot of the students say, we grow up listening to a lot of classical music, a lot of chords, a lot of brass, and a lot of vocals, but not as much with the percussion, the drums, which in Brazil is something that we have in every corner. I mean, like, if you've ever been to Brazil, Brazil is noisy. Honestly, sometimes I'm calling my mom in Brazil and I have to ask my mom to go from the living room to the back of the house because there's like cars passing all the time with like tones, whatever they're playing. There's a lot of strong bass and a lot of strong instrumental in Brazil. So when you understand the structure of the music, the structure of what makes a song and the layers of whatever song is made of, then you can focus on what is more natural to you. Like I see that some students are very naturally connected to the voice, but then sometimes we're telling them, no, step on tum, step on ta, 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 ta. And they're like struggling. But then in the class where we're focusing on the voice and in the melody, they're crushing it. And then the students who were doing better in the instrumental class, now they're having a hard time. And here's something that I'm going to share with you guys, and it's not going to be very welcomed by a lot of people. But there is a myth, and I'm going to call it a myth, because I have 20 years of seeing this every day. There's a myth that musicians understand musicality in dance so easy. Oh yeah, that person, they're a musician, or they played piano, or they play. My dear Lord, my experience in this planet has shown me the opposite. Honestly,
Man.
I don't know if I'm in the wrong planet, but in the planet that I live, most of the times when people come to class and they were musicians or they are musicians, the struggle is real. I have no idea what's the blessing or the curse, but the struggle is real. I tell you that.
Man, can I tell like a quick anecdote about this? Because this was the most intense case I've seen. It was at a long event that I was. And there was this one person who was a pianist. And they were apparently really experienced pianists, having playing piano for basically their whole life. That person could not step doing our basics in the rhythm in our 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Could not. And their main question was very technical. Like, is this the 1/16th of the count? It was a very technical musical question to know where the step should be. And there was people who are also musicians in the room and explain to that person technically and still couldn't. And then when talking with this person, they could not place the rhythm in the structure of music as they understand. And it was really fascinating because like what Alison is saying, and it has been my experience too, is counterintuitive. Someone who understands music so well in their core, in their building components, is having a hard time. And I think the reason why that is happening, it is because it's not anymore a matter of embodiment, and it's a lot of matter of head, It's like it's trying to mentally make sense of the rhythm, that we are trying to express the rhythm with movement, but it's going first to like, how can I place it in my understanding of music in the way that I know music? And then I'll move to it. So I think this process is screwing everything up, It's almost like sometimes the person that doesn't know music at all, it comes in that blissful ignorance of music, has like an easier time getting the rhythm into their bodies than those who understand it really well.
Yeah. And a simple exercise that I do a lot of the times with students is just playing any kind of music. Most of the times, just music that you can hear on the radio, not necessarily Brazilian Zouk music or traditional or lambada or anything like that. And I just ask them to step to it. Step like if you're in a bar or in a club. Step and bop. Just feel the beat. Feel the music however you do. And most of the times, like 99% of the people do the boom, 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 boom. They feel it. And then when you try to put that into Brazilian Zouk, becomes a lot easier. Because I go like, okay, everybody, you're doing the step, 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 step. Okay? Now we're going to do step, 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 step. So instead of stepping once, you're going to step twice. Yes, there's a little bit of struggle, a little bit of, some glitches. But taking it all the way back and just asking them to step to a strong something in the music. Sometimes it's the voice. Sometimes the instrument, the percussion in the music is not that strong, but the voice has a cadence that keeps going like this. I know that was terrible. Sorry, don't fire me. But the lyrics sometimes has a cadence of hitting the perceived 1, 2, 3, 4 with some parts of the words, some vocal accents, and people can feel it. So instead of really going back to like trying to get people to count, trying to get people to understand all of that, when they're really struggling, they've already been through the technical class, the theory class, all the structures, and they're still struggling with timing, then I pull it all back and I go like, okay, now let's feel this in your body because I know you understand it. I know you understand it. You can explain to me exactly how the entire class went, and you can even like write a report, but you're still not feeling it. That's when we put in the body. And a disclaimer here too. We don't teach this kind of things in our beginner's course. No, in our beginner's course, we actually go into the feeling first. Absolutely. They learn through sounds. They learn through feelings. They learn through mimicking, not through studying the structure of music and counts and all of those things. No, this is more something to do with like a private lesson or a boot camp where we're teaching musicality. But I think musicality is a big umbrella word. Just like connection, floorcraft, frame, elasticity. Those are all umbrella words to a whole group and multiple subgroups of things that we learn throughout our dance journey. So when we're talking about musicality, staying time, just basically staying time, is having good musicality.
Yeah.
And then having good interpretation of the music. That's a different style of musicality. Having a good sense of predicting what's going to happen, even if you don't know what kind of music is playing and what the song is playing. That's another skill in musicality. Even sensing how your partner is feeling the music. That's a skill in musicality.
Oh, yeah.
Because often musicality comes from the leaders, but that's not the only way. Yeah. To be honest, that's not my preferred way. I love when the musicality is exchanged between the follower and myself, or if I'm following, between the leader and myself as a follower. I love when there's that conversation of like, do you hear what I hear? And I'm like, yes, I hear what you hear. Oh, okay, let's go there then. You know,
yeah,
it's so much fun.
I think musicality is what the music asks us to do, or like what the music invites us to do. And that it is inviting both of us. It's inviting leader and follower. As you were saying, Alisson, we're describing the process. It's like the first thing we do is to understand the basic ways in which the music can speak to us, or that we can move our bodies to the music. We're basically learning the technique. We're learning the tool of dancing to a song. It's almost, there's a philosopher called Alan Watts, and he has a speech about technique, which I really like. And there is one thing that he says, that we can all close our eyes and imagine a beautiful painting, but who can actually draw the painting that you imagined? You know? So it's like, that's technique. Technique is what you use between imagining the painting and actually putting the painting in the external world. It's expressing what you thought. So when we listen to music, I sometimes close my eyes and imagine myself moving to that song. What I would like to do with that song. And that's when I encounter my limitations. I realize I cannot move that fast, or I cannot move that circularly, or that smoothly, or that slowly. Né? So the musicality for me is we are teaching the tools so people can move to music in the way that they are imagining. We start with their feet, step into rhythm, step into the beat. What you were saying, Alisson, this doom, 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 this is what my teachers would call the pulse. And later on, I learned it is the beat. And that the transition from the pulse to the rhythm, you know, when we go from the beat to the rhythm, that's where it gets more difficult, you know? And these days, guys, unfortunately, I think Alisson and I see this very often because I teach a beginner class every single Monday, every week. And we have a beginner cycle every 2 months. And people really have a hard time, even with the pulse, even finding the pulse. Like their feet doesn't step, you know, at the same time. And it was really interesting to do in one event that I participated, a drums class. And I started thinking, oh my God, every event should have a drums class. Because we were just like percussioning, doom, cha, cha, doom, cha, cha, doom, cha, cha. And I heard the most beautiful thing, that rhythm is not the sound, but rhythm is the space between sounds. So rhythm is how you stay in silence between one sound and the other. So what we normally see is that either people rush to step or the people are too slow to step. So developing that space between one step and the other is actually the hardest thing, you know? And then picking back from the idea of musicality as a tool for expression, when I was learning, like I was mentioning before, we had melody, vibe, using the pulse and the rhythm in all these different ways. We didn't have counts. And when I started teaching in 2017, I was realizing that I could not cue people properly, 7, 8 in. And then Ashley, if you guys don't know Ashley, she's the head of District Zouk, and she taught with me my first years here. She's like, oh, that was the 3. That was the 7. I was like, well, I didn't know. So I spent a bunch of time listening to music and counting in my head. And there was one more thing that was really cool. In 2018, I went to Paris to train with Alex de Carvalho. So I trained with him for 20 hours. And one of the first things that he told me as he watched me dance, I think he played a song that I didn't know. And I went to my default training, find the melody. And then Alex said something that I never forgot and really inspired me to study the structure, like Alison was saying. He said, you are chasing the song. You have to make the song chase you. And I was like, wow, how do I do that? Teach me. He said, count, because when I don't know the song, at least I know where the 5 is, where the 1 is, where the 8 is. He said, most songs are predictable in the sense of they have 8 counts, like in the dancer's mind. Sometimes this song changes from verse to chorus in the 4th count. Sometimes it changes the 2nd count. Sometimes the bridge has this many counts. Sometimes it doesn't. And then I learned that, there's a bridge. There is verse 1, there's verse 2, there is pre-chorus, there's chorus. There is all these things that I was not aware of. And they took my musicality to this next level. So I think regardless of the order in what you learn, if you learn first all the melody components, all the feeling components, and then you learn the structure, which was my case. Or learn the structure first, then you go to the. I think regardless, all is game. Because in the end, to fully express yourself through music, you might need this much. Because I was indeed chasing the song. I was truly chasing the song. And that helped me a lot, especially when playing songs that are completely melodical, totally lyrical, that I couldn't find the pattern. I couldn't find the repetitive pattern. The song kept changing all the time. But being aware, at least, of the counts in my head, of finding the pulse of the song, that was like, oh my gosh, that was the missing piece there for my musicality. So all things are helpful.
I like to say that some musicians probably don't like dancers, so they play around with the counts and they don't build the music in a very predictable way. But that's the exception. Honestly, that's the exception, because pretty much every music that you hear on the radio or every music that we hear in the socials and in classes, they are what I call boring, because they are a little square or sometimes just a corner, which means they have 8, 8, 8, 8. Start again, 8, 8, 8, 8. Or sometimes they have 8, 8. Start again, 8, 8. So once you understand that small structure in the music, then you can attach that to like, okay, so every 32s, something's going to happen. Or this song started with like a 32, went to a 16, and then went back to 32. Okay, maybe when there's something calling the music again, maybe a rise or maybe a fall, I'm going to pay attention because it could be a high, it could be a low. So I'm just going to, be here. As a leader, I like to say that when I don't know the music, but I understand the structure, what I do is I put myself and my partner in a position where I could go up in energy or down in energy or stay. So I'll use a movement or a position or a structure that in that point, whatever happens to the music, I will be okay. Because if you know that the music is about to change, and then you start doing this movement that is almost impossible or very awkward to change the energy in the middle of the movement, then you put yourself into a very trouble situation. Very simple example. You start a bonus on 7, and the music is about to change on 1. In the middle of the turn of the bonus, the music goes boom, and there's a pause, and you're in the middle of the turns on bonus. So if the music is about to change, don't start that bonus on 7.
Man,
That's a simple example.
That was exactly the point of that exercise that we used to do back in the day, where the teacher would give, in this section of the song, you do this thing here. That was exactly the point, because we needed to be aware that when you get to that point of the song, we need to be prepared for that thing. So, for example, if the song has a ta-na-na, and you need to hit a ta-na-na with your feet, for example, but you start a bonus and the music is about to do ta-na-na, you lost that moment, and that was exactly the point of that exercise. I really liked it because, for example, with me, it took me several tries to hit the thing, because using the example, I was always preparing for a bonus or a bonus-like movement that in the middle of this movement, it would be the points of the song that I needed to hit, either a pause or an acceleration or something like that.
Yes, it's something that when we are in a musicality class, I have no mercy. When I'm in a class that is meant to be about musical interpretation, musical structure, I stop the music and I go like, everybody, did you listen to the music? Because I think we're listening to different songs right now. This song is going da 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 da. You know something is gonna happen. And then you start a bonus. Or you come out of a movement and you start another movement that is going to take 4 beats or 6 beats or 8 beats. And it's going to be really hard for you to actually hit an accent or take a pause in the middle of the movement. No, that's just not it. That's not it, okay? You need to understand, if the music is about to go somewhere and do something, prepare for a place or a part of the movement where you can take a pause. A part of the movement that you're not going to be tangled up, and arms are going to be crossed and legs are going to be tangled, and there's nothing you can do other than continue the movement and completely ignore that special moment in the music. And let me tell you, we're not talking about you should hit every accent in the music. No. Yeah. I'm just talking about moments where the music pretty much touches your heart, touches your soul, and says, this is important, and please recognize this moment. There are very, very, very important songs that have these moments that if anybody continues their viradinha, I just walk away and I go like, no, I did not see that. I honestly did not see that person just walking through the red light into incoming traffic when there was like such an obvious moment to, if nothing, just stop and count until 4 and then continue walking. I don't need you to be the crazy master of understanding how to hit that accent, but at least recognize. I say in class, when you know the accent is coming, when you can count or you know the song, say hi to the accent. Recognize and bow to the accent in the music. Go like, okay, I see you. Okay, I hear you. Sometimes it's just a little rock step. Sometimes it's a little body roll. Sometimes it could just be like a little head thing. That's okay. No problem.
Doesn't need to be big. Doesn't need to be dramatic. Yeah.
Doesn't need to be chicotes, cambres, and all of the accent things. It just needs to be a recognition. You can do a viradinha, and then in the middle of the viradinha, you just do a slow step. Tum. That takes like 4 beats. So you're going tum-chic-chic, tum-chic. Like, just understanding that a recognition is such an important thing, and actually such I would say, a high-level skill in dance. Because those soft recognitions are the ones that I would say are the hardest ones to do. Because chicotes, cambres, yes, pa, 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 pa. All the time, anywhere, easy. But you know, when you're watching a teacher or a dancer, and then in the middle of the movement, they just catch something super soft in the music or super strong in the music, but the way they catch it is so seamless and gentle or surprising that you go like, holy, wow, I did not see that coming. Everybody knows when a cambre and a chicote is going to happen. It's obvious. But those special musicality things that you see, oh, amazing. Amazing.
Contrast, né? Guys, I have like two very important things I think that came up as we were talking about this. And the first one is if you put all of your training, I think you can just put all of your training under the pretense of musicality, and you're going to be developing all the skills, all the technical skills. Because to fully go there, explore, for example, texture. To explore texture, you need to be able to slow down your movement, speed up your movements. You need to be able to do the movements with more muscle tension, do the movement with less muscle tension. Like this thing that Alisson say in the viradinho, you do boom, ta, chic, boom. To do this boom clearly, you need to be on your standing leg longer. You need to communicate to your partner. We are slowing down, so you need a lot of confidence and assertiveness, right? You need your free leg to be moving at a slower pace forward. So these are all hard skills, you know? Whenever a person who's more experienced, especially the leaders, come to me and say, I don't know what else to learn. I've done everything, blah, blah. I've been doing something really simple. I say, I'm going to play 3 different kinds of music. Let me see how you dance to them. So I play old school R&B, I play a traditional one, and I play a hippie-ass song, like jungle vibes, whale music, and I watch how they go about it. And that's when we start to realize, oh my God, there's so much more to study. And then we go, how does the R&B make you feel? How did the whooshy music make you feel? The whooshy music's the hippie stuff, or jungle vibes, you know, or whale music. Like, how did they make you feel? How did the traditional make you feel? And then we go from there, like, let's do the same movement here. So we build like a little sequence. I play the R&B, I play the traditional, I play the jungle vibes. And when he tries to do the traditional way in the R&B, it simply doesn't work. Doesn't work because his body rejects it. But why does your body reject it? Because of the experience. You know, there's more awareness. And they're like, oh, it feels strange for some reason. Like, yeah, it does. Because you are now at the point that if you just go there, if you just go into the layer of like, let me feel the music, you know, your artistic self is going to come out and say, it doesn't make sense to move this way to this music, you know, and then you go, cool. And that comes to the second point that I wanted to make. I've been doing these exercises for a project that I'm putting together called Master Social Dancing. And in the first part is you connect with the attributes, with the traits of a social dancer. And musicality is one of them. So I ask people, go dance, bring your musicality. But your partner doesn't know which one you are bringing. Guys, many, many times, the person say, oh, I think they were being more musical. And that's a person who is dancing for 6 months. Doesn't necessarily someone that been dancing for years. So I think if you just step into, let me be musical, whatever that means to you. Because somebody asked, oh, but what do you mean step into the beat? What do you mean by being a musicality? And I said, whatever that means to you, you know? And so just like giving people the prompt, the permission, it's already powerful. And then my third and last point, which is the state of Brazilian Zouk musicality. And here's where I think, you know, we might do a whole other episode. It's a lot about hitting stuff. You hit the one. You know, like Alisson said, everybody know that a cambre is coming. But the problem is not everybody know that a cambre is coming. Everybody is expecting that the cambre to come. You know, hey, 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 hey. You know, like when people start to build up this thing, they are wanting the cambre to come. At the same time, when you watch a competition, for example, you see people cheering a lot when someone gets like a subtle note of musicality. And people are like, wow. So people have the expectation for the strong stuff, But when something's done that they don't expect, they also like, oh my God, that was awesome. It was so simple. Just watch Walter dance, Val from Val and Vanessa dancing. They do this very often. So in the end of the day, guys, like the state of Brazilian Zouk musicality, based on the musicality class that I have watched, ends up being, and at least on a mainstream level, focus on the, like, where is the one? Let's find this one and let's hit it with something, with a chicote, with a cambre, with something powerful. And based on the classes that I've taught in privates and trainings that I have observed, people got really good at that. But then you play an R&B song, or you play a jungle vibe song. The one is not as strong in an R&B song. In R&B song, the strong is the 2 and the 4 and the 6. So the clap is the strong one. But they have the tutu hitting the downbeat strong, not the upbeat strong. And in the wish music, there's no strong. It keeps going, So like just getting these tools out and noticing when you are, I was like that for a long time. When I was training, I would only play music that I like to dance, So I would be in the musical echo chamber. I just listen to the stuff I like, So the challenge is like, bring stuff that I don't know. And that's when I started to get really, really challenged, especially when I was there in Taiwan and I asked people to bring me their music. And it was like, oh my God, I have no idea how to dance to this.
Yeah. And that's something that I love to do at the end of classes where I teach music structure or music interpretation, umbrella musicality. I usually ask the students, can you all please just find one song that you 100% knows that I will not know? If I'm in a country that is a non-English speaking country, that's the easiest. If I'm in the US or in Australia, it's a little harder, or Brazil. But usually if I'm in a non-English speaking country, they play something like very local and then I dance to it. As long as it's a 4/4, I can dance to it. If it's a 3/4, it's a little struggle, but I'll try. Simply because music in the last decades is very, very much structured the same way. Doesn't matter where it's from. Doesn't matter the language. Doesn't matter the background. If you go to some temple and religious music, yes, sometimes the counts are crazy. But just regular music, it's all the same. And one thing that I do ask the students to do whenever they are asking me about musicality or becoming a better musical dancer is listen to music as much as possible. And I couldn't repeat this enough. Listen to music, waking up, making food, in the shower, walking to the whatever, like listen to music. If you don't know what music to listen to, today we are in the glorious year of 2025 where there is so much online that you can just go and listen to on Mixcloud, on SoundCloud, that are like pre-recorded sets from DJs. I know a lot of people, when they start Zouk, they go like, oh, I don't know what music to listen to. I don't know what to search on Spotify. And I'm like, drop Spotify, forget about Spotify. Just go to Mixcloud, go to SoundCloud, and find me. If you find me on Mixcloud, I don't use SoundCloud so much, you can go to my profile, Alisson Sanji, and I have a bunch of things that I listen there. I have playlists that I have organized there. So you guys can just go to my Mixcloud and steal it. I listen to Mixcloud pretty much on a daily basis because I'm editing, I'm working, I'm doing a bunch of things. I'm in the public transport. So you can see everything that I listen every day there. You can stalk me and just follow. Because that to me is musicality training as well. Sometimes you're not listening attentively. Sometimes you're not listening intentionally. But your brain is registering the patterns. Your brain is recognizing how music works. And then when you go to dance, it will be another process of your body and your brain agreeing on doing the same thing. But that's a process. That's a process that is going to take a little bit of time. For example, I can imagine a beat in my head and like, but I cannot replicate it with my hands. because I don't have that coordination. I'm not a drummer, but I can understand. And if I grab my iPad here, I can create it on GarageBand exactly how I want it, but I wouldn't be able to do it with my hands. And that's kind of like allow the time for your body to express it the way you want it, with some intentional training as well. I think it's good to have music playing and actually trying to dance by yourself and hit the music how you want it, but not be upset about it. Just try. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not, but keep dancing, keep having fun, and then maybe have a partner that you can try it with. And then your musicality will slowly get better. And don't be attached to anything. Musicality changes over time. It just changes over time. As well as music in Brazilian Zouk changes over time. Bro, 15 years ago, what we were dancing in the socials, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, completely different. So don't be too attached to anything because everything's changing all the time. Just understand how to listen to the music and how to put that in your body and get to a point where I have to apologize to followers or to people that I'm dancing with and then go like, I'm so sorry. That was not me. That was the music. The music made me do it and I had no control over my body. I'm very sorry. In a funny way, because maybe I was being a little too crazy and I wasn't the most adaptable or attentive leader. I was just going with the music. But yes, that's when the music takes over your body. But it feels good. It feels good. Just don't do it all night and with every partner. Have a balance.
Yeah. I would say lastly, I think this thing that you're saying to people listen to music, Mixcloud and SoundCloud, I agree 1000%. You have everything curated for you already. The DJs already did that. Amazing. One thing that you can do, for example, is listen to music as your subconscious training. You're listening and, by osmosis identifying the patterns, or you're actually very, very conscious training. Like I said before, I didn't know how to count. So I needed to listen to music and I would be counting in my head the whole time. First out loud, then silently in my head. But then there is this other exercise, which, for example, you can listen to the music and try to find elements underneath what Addison was saying is the things that are more superficial aspects of the music, what you can hear more clearly and what is behind. My teachers used to call it the bed of the songs, where everything else lies down on, like the mattress of the music. And we needed to sometimes listen to that mattress, sometimes the bass. Sometimes it's just like somebody hits the piano or the keyboard and boom, bang, like these longer sounds. And then there was something that was really amazing to me. There is these songs that I've been listening for decades, but only on a speaker in a social. And then I got to hear the song on a good quality headphones. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's all these things. And then you start to sort of like decode the song in the sense of, okay, the rhythm's right here, the lyrics is right here. Okay, these are the bones right there. But there's this little piano thing, there's this violin stuff, there's this little bass here. And then you go one by one. And over time, when you listen to music, it doesn't come like this blob of sounds in your ear. When they come like separated already. And you can right away move to one, move to the other, move to one. But this is training, guys. And this is like consciously listening to the music, which is, like Addison was saying, the most amazing training we can do is listen to music. Just listen to it. And add this layer of listening, just listening and listening, to the elements of it. This might be, in my opinion, one of the most powerful, effective ones that you have.
And if you don't know how to do that, I'll tell you a little secret. There's a website called YouTube that you can learn anything from, honestly. I have multiple times just gone on YouTube and look up like how to count music to send to a student or how to listen to different layers in the music. And there's like 20 videos and I just send it to the student. You guys can just do that. How to listen to the vocal in the music, how to differentiate the lower, the middle, the higher part in the music. Everything is possible to be learned on YouTube. And like Guy said, get yourself a pair of good headphones. I would recommend over-ear headphones or in-ear, but like with a ear tip that blocks the sound outside and maybe has also noise canceling. Even better. Boom. Top tier. Because it wasn't until I got a noise canceling headphones that I truly heard music. Honestly, all of the headphones that I had before without noise canceling and without like being either over my ear or in my ear, they were only giving me 50% of what is in the music. So yes, for those of you who really, really, really appreciate musicality and want to get there, that's another tip. Please get a real good pair of headphones because that's going to change your life. And every now and then, I listen to songs by chance that I haven't heard in 10 years or something like that. And I listen on my good pair of headphones that I didn't have 10 years ago. And I'm like, whoa, this is a whole new song. Honestly, this is a whole new song. I have been ignoring so many things for so long.
Man.
And I fall in love with the song again.
And there is this last thing I think that I want to mention about this is see somebody else dance to that song. And then you're going to hear through their body, their ears. Yeah. And it was really cool because my brother, again, there was a song from old school Cabo Zouk singer called Felipe Monteiro. Irresistível, I think is the name of the song. And there are several like little musical, melodical things, playful stuff. And I did a video to that song and my brother said, man, you missed the ha-ha of this song. I was like, ha-ha? Like, yeah, you got all the little things, but the ha-ha. I was like, oh my God, where is it? And then he's like, right here. Never heard the ha-ha before. Even after I had listened to the song over earphones, like high quality, I missed that element, you know? So it's very fun to see what elements of the song call the attention. So it's super, super amazing, actually, how much we can learn from just like listening, watching, how much we can learn about musicality by listening, watching, and seeing how other people interpret or listen to the same song that you're listening to.
Yeah. And I not only love to watch other Brazilian Zouk dances, but I love to watch other dances of any style, how they interpret music. So sometimes I'm watching salsa, West Coast swing, tango, anything, and I'm like, oh my God, they're using this part of the music that we don't normally use in Brazilian Zouk. That is so cool. I want to learn how to do that with Brazilian Zouk as well. So it adds another layer and another flavor that I can use. So yeah, guys, we tried to condense all of our thoughts in 1 hour and we barely made it. But honestly, we want to come back to this sometime soon to continue because I think the hardest thing of this episode was to stay in a certain track and not go too far and wild into the cosmos and into something else that would not allow us to come back. So how to train musicality, how we see musicality, how we understand and how we teach musicality in the, I would say, the simplest to the medium form, because there's so much more. So hopefully this was a helpful and useful guide for you in any level of your personal dancing or in your teaching. And if you have any other ideas, please let us know. Please make sure that you follow, subscribe, share this with your friends, and let us know if you have any other questions or topics that you would like us to cover here. And we'll be more than happy to do it for you. Gucci. So thank you once again for being here. Beijos, everybody. Abraços and ciao.
Bye, everyone. Go listen to some music.